So I'm going to go back to my agenda, and this is good. I'm learning how, this is the first time we've done this with a group, so trying to figure this out hopefully will help us for our next meeting, or it will force us to be in a face-to-face meeting because it doesn't work. So I'm going to share the agenda here again. So I get up. Okay. So I just wanted to also make people aware of the Common Core and National Educational Technology Standards, and there is a document here that I have linked to in the Google Doc. So just to speak quickly about the agenda here, I will use this same agenda for each meeting, and so I'll just add to it, and so you'll have all the live links and everything in this agenda. The tiny URL, the shortened URL at the very top, which is bit.ly/PPS Tech Agenda, will always be the same URL for this document for each meeting. And so here, making the connection Common Core and National Educational Technology Standards, this is a site, I will click on it, that was put together by HP. And so basically what it does is it aligns the Common Core standards with the appropriate National Educational Technology Standards, the NETs. And so it aligns them together where appropriate. And so you can see here creativity and innovation, communication and collaboration, research and information fluency, critical thinking, digital citizenship, and technology operations. Those are the NETS standards, and then it aligns and tells you which Common Core standards hit those NETS standards. So this is a nice document that you can share with your colleagues. So that's that. And then also here I've got just links for you if you are not familiar with the PPS Student Technology Standards, and then the NETS for Student Standards, and then I've got some links here to other NETS for Students resources. And Smarter Balance has put up some sample items and performance tasks that people can look at. So you can click on that link and go see those items. Those are available. So the PPS Student Technology Standards, those were based on the NETS standards. And so we're probably going to be revising them soon. So if you could take a look at those and briefly submit some feedback by emailing me, or if you had ideas on how those should look, please feel free to do that. Okay. Any questions from anyone? I'm trying to monitor the comments on the YouTube stream. It looks like Claudia said she's okay. No problems. I've got 8 viewers, but I don't know. I think who 3 or 4 of them are. I don't know who the other people are. So just as a reminder, if you are one of these viewers and you want to get a certificate saying that you were doing this, then make sure you register on the PPS Learning Campus. The registration, I think, closed today, so if you can't register, just email me and let me know that you need to be included, and I will register you and then send out certificates shortly after. Okay. So, iPads and apps was our next topic on the agenda. And I have a link here to the PPS iPad resource page, and then there are just a small number of links here that I added for different apps. So if you did not already know, Google Docs, Google Drive did not used to work on the iPad, and now it does. So that's a great app to have if you do word processing with Google Docs. These two apps, Number Rack and GeoBoard, were made by the Math Learning Center, so those could be used in the Bridges math adoption. Then I also linked to Evernote, which is a great note-taking app. And the thing that I love about Evernote is that you can access it from any platform. So either on your laptop, your desktop, on an Android phone, on an iPhone, via the web. You can also download apps for Evernote that install on your computer. So you can access it several different ways. The other thing to look at in iTunes, they have all these different app collections where they have apps that they recommend. So that's another place to check, is just spend some time in iTunes looking at their collections. Any questions so far about anything? Okay, so I'm going to scroll down on the agenda here. I'm going to stop my screen sharing. So the hope is that as I try to get this to work next time, I guess I do have a meeting on October 23rd, the other cluster time for Job Alikes. And so I will try to get this working, because technically what was supposed to happen, which didn't happen, and I don't know why, because I did all this testing prior to today, and of course it worked before today. But so people should have been able to join the Hangout, and then I would have been able to see you and have interaction with people as if we were video chatting, whereas right now all I can see is myself, and it tells me how many viewers I have, but that's it. And so the only other way that I can interact with you right now is through comments on one of those two links that I gave you in the email. So there were some other resources on the agenda, and either I would screen share that agenda like I have been and I would show that to you, or you could just be pulling that up on your own computer and looking at that while also listening to me. But the next thing on the agenda, there were some links for other resources, just some things that I put in there to start off with. And so you had some resources to Common Sense Media, a digital citizenship and creative content guide, and then also the PPS Connect Internet Safety page, which has some of those Common Sense Media resources already on them. But we also are getting ready to pilot some internet safety, online safety curriculum. And so I had sent a message out to the EdTech listservs asking if you were interested, and I compiled names of people that sent a message to me saying they're interested. So I will be contacting you when that curriculum is ready for you to test out. And so some of you that are on, I know you had replied to me. But Common Sense Media has some really, really great resources, especially for K-5, because the internet safety curriculum that we have access to is technically only for grades 6 through 12. So the Common Sense Media stuff is awesome, and they have tons of resources, not only curriculum there, but they have reviews of movies, TV shows, they have reviews of apps, and then they also have parent materials, so even presentations, if you were doing some kind of internet safety night at your school, they have materials for that. The PPS Connect page that has the internet safety resources, that is one of the SharePoint pages. So when you first go to this site, it asks you to log in and you just put in your PPS email, username, and password. A couple of other sites here. I use this a lot. So those of you that have come to any of my meetings in the past, the Interactive Fruit Machine Random Name Picker is a great tool where you enter names, and if at the end you're doing some kind of raffle or you need to choose a student to do something, that's a great tool. There's also this new tool called Class Badges, and Class Badges is basically a website. It's a free online tool that teachers can use to award badges for student accomplishments. So it's sort of the whole gamification idea where kids are getting badges for completing tasks, that kind of thing. And so it is in beta, so you do need to request an invite. And I requested one, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I got my invitation to try it out last week. So it doesn't take that long if you are interested in doing that. Any questions from anyone? I don't see any questions in the comments or anything. I'm checking. I see Claudia has a question about what's the basic concept behind the iPads in the classroom. We at Saban don't have access to iPads. Where's a good place to find out more information, student learning data? So iPads in the classroom, I'm not sure I understand your question, Claudia, about what's the basic concept of using them in the classroom, and I would say it is another technological tool that may help with engaging students and actually creating artifacts or doing research. So it's another tool that you would use in your instruction if it made sense. There are lots of schools that have funds and they're purchasing iPads because iPads are cheaper than computers. They see that as a more viable way to get more tools into the hands of students. A good place to find out more information, student learning data. So I'm going to share my screen because I'm going to show you. We do have an iPad resource page off the IT homepage. So I'm going to go to that. And so on the IT homepage, under Teacher Resources here on the left-hand side, I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to go to Mobile Technologies. And then there's a specific iPads page. So if I make this a little bit bigger. So if I just keep scrolling down to the bottom, there are some other links here, and the one I would recommend to Claudia for checking out more information about student learning data is the Canby website. So Canby here in Oregon is a really big iPad, iPod district in Oregon. So they have almost one-to-one devices with their students, not quite, but I think like every third, fourth, and fifth grader in their district has an iPod. So that's a good place to start checking out information and data on student achievement and what they found, because they have done this for a number of years now, so they've got a lot of data that shows improvement in student achievement. Okay. So the internet safety, Claudia had another message here that I see. I will add you to the list, Claudia, about testing out that information. And it hasn't gone out yet, so no teachers have used it, aside from we asked counselors and teacher librarians to preview it because we felt that those two populations were the ones that would most likely be responsible for teaching some of this in our schools. So they are looking at it, and the teacher librarians thought it was really good. They really liked it. Any other questions? I'm checking to see if there's questions on the other site. I don't see any, so I'm going to take that as a no more questions. Okay, so I'm going to go back to, I'm going to stop screen sharing. And let me go back to my agenda. The other thing I wanted to make sure everyone knew about, and if you subscribe to the EdTech listservs, you already know that I started a new PPS instructional technology blog, and everything that I post to the EdTech listservs goes directly to the blog because I'm using a tool called Postgres. And so I'm going to go back to screen sharing. Show this. And so I also post additional things that do not get posted to the EdTech listserv. So for instance, there's this section here on the Oregon Google Summit, which was last Friday at a new middle school in Happy Valley. And so this just shows a bunch of tweets that happened during the day related to the Google Summit. So if you're interested in that, you could watch this slideshow. And then there are also some more links on the side here on the right-hand side with iPad links and other sites I like. And then we've got standards links and technology leader cadre links on the left side. So just make sure you are aware of this. I think this will be a really great resource. Oh, and going back to this tool that I'm using for the blog, it's a tool called Postgres, and what I love about Postgres is that I can send an email, and that email, if I send it to the blog, it automatically gets posted as a blog post. So when I send out messages to the EdTech listserv, I not only address them to edtech-hs at PPS, I also address it to the blog address, and then it automatically gets posted here. So it's all about automating tasks so I don't have to do it separately from the email. So this is a great tool if you are thinking about blogging, starting a blog for your classroom. But I really like that email feature. It also lets you automate posts to other sites. So a lot of the technology that you see now allows you to automate doing things. And so you either are, if I'm posting here, I can also post to my Twitter account. If I'm posting photos to the blog, I can also post them to my Flickr account, to my Facebook account, to my Twitter account. So it has all these different social components built in, which is really, really nice. So that's another tool for you to use if you are interested. The other things I just wanted to alert you to, so you may have seen this on the listserv as well, the OATS conference, which is the Teaching, Learning, and Technology Symposium. That is coming up on Friday, October 26th at the University of Portland. We co-sponsored this symposium last year, but due to budget cuts and no funding really, we were not able to co-sponsor, but we're still helping with the planning of this symposium. The deadline to register for this is Friday, October 19th, which is this Friday. And this is a really great deal because it's $75 if you have a team of 4 from your building. Otherwise, it's $100, but you also get breakfast and lunch, and you get some really great speakers and really great sessions. So if you can get a team of people from your school to go, it would only cost you $75, and you can use your professional development funds. You would just need to fill out the travel and training authorization form and then check off the PIF funds on there. The other thing I want to alert you to is we have another session of EdCamp PDX happening, and so I have advertised this before on the EdTech listservs, but EdCamp PDX is basically an unconference style of professional development, and it's really grassroots. We figure out the sessions that morning. Some of us on the planning committee, we come up with some sessions beforehand, but then whoever attends, if you decide you want to facilitate a session on how I can use iPads with my 3rd graders, you can have that session, and people sign up for it. So this next session is Saturday, November 17th at Lewis Elementary. So that's one of our schools. In the past, we've had sessions at Catlin Gable, OES, LaSalle. So this is a time for us to host, and it's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's a really great day of learning. It's free. So let's see if I can get some interactivity here. On the agenda at the very bottom, what topics do you want to see for future meetings? So it says post your answers on the Today's Meet. So if you click on that link, you're going to be taken to this tool, which should now be showing on the screen. And this is called Today's Meet. Some of you may already be familiar with it, but I love this tool to use during any professional development sessions that I do. And usually I use it as a way to do reflections or compile questions as a parking lot. And so what you do is you just say, usually before you create the room, this would say create room, and you create the room and you get to select the title of the room, and I called this todaysmeet.com/ I chose Tech Job Alikes. That wasn't taken. If the name's already taken, you'll get a message that warns you that it's taken. And then you can set it up to last for certain time periods. So either an hour, a day, a month, I think a year. I'm not sure those are the specific time increments, but you'd set how long the room is active. So I chose a year. And so I can always use this same link each time we have a meeting, and it archives all the questions, it archives all the information that's typed into this box. So I asked you a question on what kinds of topics or what interests do you have that you would like to go over for future meetings in these technology job alikes. So if you could go ahead and fill out this message box answering that question, what topics do you want to see for future meetings, please go ahead and do that now if you can. And I will give you a few minutes. So Jim has said he would like to know what other schools are doing for technology in their classrooms, so that is definitely something we can talk about next time and have people share. So I'll definitely want to get the Hangout set up so that people can join and we can actually interact with each other. And Claudia says that she is interested in making connections between the business community and what we are teaching in the classroom with respect to design and technology. And Grant would love to know what's happening in the middle school, high school, so he can best prepare his elementary students. And then the last thing, so it looks like our meeting's going to go a little bit short by probably about 30 minutes. But there is a link to an evaluation on the agenda, and considering that this meeting did not go as well as planned, go ahead and still fill out the evaluation, even though things weren't optimal in terms of our hangout. And if you have any other questions, please put them in the comment section and I will try to answer them. And if you have time, watch that video on your own. If you have any other questions, go ahead and put them in the today's meet too, because that will be a way for me to just look over information and other questions that people have. Some good questions here. What do the high schools want us to teach in middle school? So Grant and Jim are sort of asking the same things here. It's good. Any other questions from anyone? If not, I'm going to end the broadcast. And so this will actually be posted on the YouTube page. So if there's information that you need to refer back to, I'm going to say go watch that. And I don't know that I'd necessarily recommend people watching this broadcast since it didn't go quite as planned, but you can share it with your colleagues if you feel like there's some interesting information. Okay, everyone, have a good rest of the evening, and I will talk to you all soon. Thanks for coming.